Welcome to another YouTube video where I will show you how me and Chris found our team of developers for Sharpen AI. This is something that I touched upon briefly on the previous video. You can see here I had a step missing on how to find the right developer. Finding developer, I said, will be shown in another video. So today is the day that you're going to see that video and see this mirror flow of how we found our developers. Let's not waste any more time and let's dive into the whole section itself. Firstly, to find a developer, you have two options. First of which is to steal from another AI agency, and there obviously are some upsides, downsides to it. And the other option is to go into AI communities and find upcoming AI engineers. This is a route we mainly take, not mainly, always we take this route, and this is something we're not really keen on. But to go deeper in how would you go and steal from AI agencies is explained here. But firstly, I would like to discuss some of the benefits of having to do so. Firstly, you get a person who is experienced. They have experience in the field. They know how it is working with AI. They have seen these real production environments. They have been building them for some time. They have been working with people who also do AI engineering. They have seen those real life issues. So the experience is something that you're paying for. This is why this option is very good, but only if you have capital. So, because getting a person from agency isn't easy. You have to pay them more than they currently are being paid. And that is more discussed here in the downsides tab, but touch upon what other benefits you have from getting a AI agency engineer is that they have used the previous experience to bring something new to your team. So they not only do a great job at developing the AI, they also are amazing at improving your other team. So the rest of your developers also benefit from this because the more experienced AI engineer brings new practices, new ways of developing to the agency, which other engineers can learn from and get better at it. So the whole company grows and the agency grows as well. But that is happening at a cost that you are paying a premium for this AI engineer. But apart from these good, very good options that an experienced AI developer brings you, capital is the main issue. Because if you are starting out, then having a person on a payroll is pretty difficult. Once you start out, you want to do them contractually. So once you got the project, you give them a contract. So if you want to get somebody from AI agency, they will most likely ask you for a fixed salary because they have been used to it. They have their lifestyle that they want to continue. So why should they change it for a bigger risk for the same amount of reward? Why can't they just stay at the job? So you have to provide them fixed salary. And what's worse is that fixed salary has to be bigger than what they're getting now because there has to be a reason for them to move forward. Why would they want to jump ships to another AI agency to do the same work at perhaps with less developed team, with less developed management, something like a startup? There's no reason for them. They want to maintain their lifestyle, thus to compensate it, they would want a bigger salary from it. So if you're somebody who has capital behind him when starting an agency and looking to hire developers, then going with the stealing from other AI agencies method is pretty good. Because if you have capital to employ, go ahead, it's the shortcut, it's one of the great ways to do it. But personally, at our agency, that's not something that we practiced before when we started out. And currently, we're not really practicing it either. But in case you have the capital and you're interested in how to actually do it, then let me quickly run through the process. So how would it happen? Firstly, you would go on LinkedIn. You would just simply write AI agency, and you will look at the agencies that you have, because most of them will have a LinkedIn presence because they want to be professional, just like Sharpen AI. We have a presence. And they have, in the tab, you can view people. So the people who work at the agency. Here you obviously would have the CEOs, the project managers, just as we have for Sharpen AI, but they would also have employees. So let's say they would have AI engineer, software engineer, automation expert in the members tab. So you could click on their profile, obviously connect with them, send them a nice LinkedIn message, giving you an opportunity, some sort, and continue the conversation from there, whether they are actually interested in joining a new startup. You have to be pretty direct with them that you are going to pay them pretty well, otherwise they won't even entertain the option. Obviously, payment isn't the only thing that could get them away from the AI agency. Maybe they have some kind of not hiccups, some kind of cons working in the previous AI agency, something that they don't like. So before offering your salary, you have to hop on a call with them, get their experience, get what they're passionate about, something, maybe you have a great connection between you two as a people, and he or she would like to work with you better than they're working currently because the work environment is not so great. So it all depends. So once you connect, get them on a quick online call and talk to them. Get to know them as a person and whether you would want them to work for your company. The payment thing only comes later. So if the person is interested in joining, then, and is a great fit for you, then only move on to the payment. There's no need to say, hey, I will pay you $5,000 a month and come to work for me. Will it bring the person there? Yes. But is it going to be a great worker and you're going to have a great work environment? Probably not, because they're going to see you just as a money bag, and they're going to be waiting their $5,000 every month. They might delay projects. Maybe they are a slow developer. It all depends on the person. So get to know them before you give them an actual project. So it's still a lot of sorting through and iterating through engineers. The only shortcut that you're getting is that they have experience. Other than that, as a human, as a team player, you still have to sort through those whilst you're employing them. So this is the mainly a reason why we are not keen on this ourselves, because we still have to do all of this work if we want to hire some upcoming ones. There still has to be work, and maybe there's a little less of work, but we are happy to give them the experience, give them the lessons, and have a person who is more engaged with us, who is more committed to working with our company because we help them. And in process, we don't have our cost as high, at least the fixed cost as high as you would have from stealing developers from AI agencies. So that was a quick overview of how you would steal from different agencies. Obviously, you could go in more in depth on the further process of how it actually happens. But since it's not something that we are ourselves really keen on doing, as mentioned multiple times, I would not like to go deeper into that. I'd like to deep dive into the system we actually use on our own end, how me and Chris find developers, which is through AI communities. What are AI communities? These are these communities where you see like the Liam Oatley one, or some other school communities, boop communities, everything to do with AI and some people who are interested in building AI. So through these communities, you can find very good people who have experience, maybe not the best experience on actually being implemented into projects, but experience from building agents and having some kind of AI experience, and most definitely they have like will to learn because they are in these communities to learn. So why do we go for these developers in AI communities? Is pretty simple. Firstly, there is young and inspiring talent who are fast learners, who want to learn, and they are there for learning, as mentioned before. So we want people like these in our team because it only brings more value to the team rather than somebody who is up their ass and is like, oh, I'm the best at AI. We don't want people like those. We want people who are willing to learn, willing to listen, and want to grow as humans. That is something that we want on our team. It might depend on you. Maybe you want somebody who feels like an expert, is an expert, and that go for it. That is your team. In our team, we don't want that. We want a community working together. Best next thing is that these people in the communities mainly are people from like third world countries. So they're from India, Pakistan, somewhere in Africa, and you should not neglect those. Like they aren't level below some other developers just because they're from third world countries. They're extremely talented and at some instances even better than developers you can find in Europe. You should not neglect people coming from third world countries because they have the same work ethic, they're great, and they work as any other European developer. For our own agency, we have a mix of people who work from third world countries, people who work here in Latvia from different European countries as well. So we have a mix of people. That's how we operate. But if you're starting out, the third world talent is, I think, the best case, the best route you can go down because it's cheap. Like compared to finding people from AI agencies and paying them fixed salary, you pay these people on contractly basis. They have lower living standards. They have lower living expenses in those third world countries. So that you can pay them less, but it doesn't mean that you're paying small amount to them. You're just paying a competitive salary in their country that they can live with and they can be comfortable with. It's just for you as a European, that is smaller amount of money you have to pay a Latvian developer. So there's no hiding behind the fact that people in third world countries are cheaper but work at the same pace or even better pace. So you get a better ROI, you get a better profit margin for your development. Obviously there are a few downsides that come with having people from third world countries. One of which to mention is they have different culture, and that can also, to be pretty honest, can drastically change your team morale. A person who has a different culture might not fit into your team, even if they're great talent and they're very aspiring to learn. So you have to mix and match. You have to iterate through these people. You have to sort them and see whether they are a match for your agency, just like you would do in the case before with the ones from AI agencies. But what's also great from these communities, you don't get just young and third world country talent. You also get some people who work at these agencies but think they can get on more work or they want to earn more, so they're looking for side gigs, they're looking for side projects where they can hop on. So you can also get those experienced devs here, and obviously they're going to be more costly than the third world country, but they're going to be less expensive than paying a fixed salary because you're going to be paying them contractually wages, so a contract-based agreement. And they come with the experience from these agencies. So they come with these benefits, but they don't cost that much. So this is a great way to find people who could expand your team. From having an experienced agency developer work on, let's say, 1 or 2 projects, you'll learn from him. You get some takeaways which you can implement for your agency and for your other workers. So it's kind of paying the extra margin just to attain information. So you can look at it from that side as well. Apart from all the benefits I mentioned before, like here, and all the greatness of having people from AI communities, you also get some downsides. Because in these communities, you have people who fake to be AI developers. They do everything with ChatGPT. They hire somebody on Fiverr if you pay them. So you have to filter through these people. We have set skills to do that. We have set options, set of procedures we do to sort through them. And one else thing is that people can lack professional communication skills from these communities. That is something to do with the culture in other countries. So to give an example, in third world countries, they have different culture than here in Latvia. So if we would want a developer from third world country, we have to find somebody who has great, not great communication skills, but a culture, who's cultured more towards us. Because when we hop on calls with high-paying clients, we don't want somebody who's going to represent us from below or somebody who's going to bring us down. We want somebody on par or somebody better than us culturally who can communicate greatly on our team. So at least for us, we have to find people who have the communication skills or somebody who's willing to learn and can learn those skills. So how do we fix these downsides? Is by simply having 3 structures. First of which, having these 3 structures. The most effective one is test tasks. Test tasks is something that we give after a call, after the introductory call. We give them a task to, let's say here, build a voice agent. We give them a deadline, we give them description, context of what they're building. We give them what technology they should use. We give them a conversation flow. So all they have to do is actually build out the agent. They don't have to think about what is their building. They just have to follow the instructions and build it in their own way of building. And this is a great way to get rid of the fake developers, because they aren't going to do a great job at that. This is where also we test whether the people said something on the resume that's fake or lied to us. So we can also do it via test task. We can actually see whether they know how to use N8N, whether they have worked with WAPI. And during this test task, all the expenses are paid. So if they're using Twilio or something, we are paying for that. We pay for the AI usage. So all they have to do is provide their skills. They have to showcase their skills. And instead of just having to present us the test task, having to present us the caller, which we can call, we also ask them to do a quick Loom video, a quick short video where they explain what was the building process, what was the thought process, because that also matters to us, because we want people with certain thought process when building these solutions. We want to see what they're thinking about, what are they not thinking about, so we get a clearer vision of who they are as a person from the explanation and whether they fit into our team. So if we are happy with the test task and what they did, we have to onboard them. And onboarding happens by giving us, the developer, our mindset, which is done through SOPs, which is standard operating procedures. So basically, to put it simply, it's a document where we highlight how we think, how we, me, Chris, Ralph, and Jacob, how do we think? What is our mindset? Because that is the mindset we want to have to our employees. So this is like, to give an example, we are client oriented. We want client to be happy, and we do everything for the client for them to be happy with the project we developed. We have to give the same mindset to our developer so they work at the same thinking process like we do. We also want the quality to be the highest. We don't want some job done in 5 minutes. That's not what we do. So we have to give all of this mindset into our developer. We have to give them how does our mind work, what are their responsibilities, what are our responsibilities. So they have to know in and out on how does this relationship work between us and whether they are a great match for us and we are a great match for them. If they are onboarded and we are happy with the developer, then we have to complete constant communication with them through daily check-ins on fulfilling a project, testing the project, and whether it's happening how we want it to happen. And this is just a short explanation. If you want more details, that was explained in the previous Miro board right over here. Like, this whole section is about it. So I won't go into details about it. So we do these daily communication with the devs to check whether they're actually working and doing a great job. Okay, but you know how, like, the benefits, you know the downsides, you know how to fix these downsides or how to filter these people. But how do you actually find these AI communities, and what are next steps? How do you physically, practical steps to finding these employees? As mentioned before, you go to these AI agencies, AI communities. One of great example is Liam's Oatly School community, well-known YouTuber in the AI space. So many people have heard of him, many people have joined this free community. They are there to learn, they're there to communicate with people, they're there to find opportunities. So what we did is simply post a job offering. Sorry about that. We simply post a job offering. Here, what we offer, we're hiring voice agent engineers, developers, where we're located, what we are mainly looking for, what should be your skills, and how can you apply. And through these people, they apply via email, they send us DM, they maybe chat right here. So we get them to send us an email and book a call with us so we can have a quick call with them and speak to them and see how they are as a human. Here we have a discovery call, simply chat with them, what is his or her experience, and chat about like their technical skills mainly, what they're more comfortable with, what projects they have developed. And this is just to discover them as a person, see how they talk, see their experience mainly. And we mainly don't sort them based on this call. Actually, we do, because we had a funny example. We had a call with a developer who seemed to be like AI made. His eyes didn't blink once. He had like this ChatGPT generated responses where after every question he would like, yeah, like 10, 20 seconds think and then spit out a very well-renowned paragraph in an answer. So we do throw some people after this out, but mainly not. Those are only some very, very unique experiences when we throw people out after discovery call, because we care about how do they work, like what is their abilities, which we test to the test task. As mentioned before, we send them this test task, and this is like the best filter ever, because some people do not complete the test task, some people could not complete the test task, and we don't want those people. We only get people who completed the test task. That's great, and then we have to review the test task, because it can be also done poorly. It can also have a large amount of errors. So we have to review the test task and see whether it matches something that we would want. Obviously, we are not too strict of, oh no, you should have defined this line as this, you should have pronounced it like here. We mainly review the tech stuff and the prompting. Other than that, if we are happy with all the development they made, we're happy to onboard them, to see and put them into a real case scenario, give them a real project. So we have the onboarding call where we highlight the SOPs, we explain, we go through all of this document together. We look at it, we have explanations, we ask them questions whether they understand it. So like before the onboarding call, we send them the SOPs to read, and then we, during the call, ask them questions about it to see whether they actually read it, because also we want people who put in effort. If they haven't read the document, that's not somebody who we want on our team. So that's a great filter as well. During the call, we introduce them to the work culture, which is done mainly through SOPs as well, but mainly also through our communication on how we deal with projects and explain them in examples, how we built a certain project with the developer, what were the hiccups and everything. So we go through experience with them and they get a better insight rather than just reading just a document. And if everything is fine, then we can give them all the necessary access, just like the keys to OpenAI, give them the email access. So any kind of access necessary for them to operate, give them the Slack channel, obviously. That is done if we are happy with them. That is how we onboard developers. So you can see here, for this process right here, there's a multiple step filtering system, because you have to find somebody who is actually matching for your team, somebody who can do the job that you want and work together with the developers you already have. It's not just as simple as giving them money and yo, you do the AI thing. It's not as simple as that. You have to work with them, you have to teach them, you have to highlight your mindset. I hope this explained a bit more on how do we find developers for our agency. But if you have any questions, then feel free to comment down below, or just send me a DM on Instagram or something where you have a question, and I'm happy to give an answer and help you out to onboard your own developers. So thank you for watching this video, and bye.